Dear students, welcome back to CUET Quant discussion session. So here we can consider our first question. So it's from the topic ratio. It's the different forms of ratios. How it is possible 7a equal to 5b equal to 2c. Find a is to b is to c. So there is an easy way to find the answer for this type of a question. So this is 7a equal to 5b equal to 2z, correct? Then how we can find it? So the first method, you have to equate these all values to the LCM of these all coefficients. There is another one more method also, that's the most interesting one method. What you have to do, if you need to find out what is a is to b is to c, in such a type of expression, you just hide this a part. That means 7a, you just hide it. Now you can see 5 and 2. Just multiply it together. So 5 into 2, that is equal to 10. And for getting the value for b, you just hide this b column. So now you can see the coefficients of 7 and 2. So the product of 7 and 2, that's equal to 14. Clear? And the last one, just hide it. 7 into 5, that is equal to 35. So this is the most easiest type of approach. Here the answer is 10 is to 14 is to 35. Have you got it clearly? Right. Yes. So otherwise what you can do? So the other alternative method is you just equate it to. So that's also we can consider what's the another type of approach towards such a question. So whenever we are considering such type of values, this is or the next method. So instead of this method, it's easy to handle. But whenever we are considering about some other values at that time, this LCM type of approach, it's quite convenient. Here you just equate it to the LCM of 7, 5 and 2. What is the LCM of 7, 5 and 2? So here we know that there is not any common factors for these three numbers 7, 5 and 2. You just multiply it together. So this is equal to 70. Think about it. If 7a equal to 70, which will be the value for a? Like that we can consider. Therefore, a is to b is to c. If 7a equal to 70, therefore a is equal to 10. 5b equal to 70, what is the value for b? That is 14. 2z equal to 70, therefore the value for c is equal to 35. So either you can apply this method also. So whenever the values doesn't have any common factors like this, it's better to use that hiding and multiplying method. If there are common factors, it's better to use the second method of LCM. Consider the second question here. Which of the following numbers is not a prime number? It's a little bit difficult one, right? Because we have to identify which is a prime number. How to identify whether the given number is prime or not? Correct. So that's the important point here. So here, we can approach this question in a different way. So many different ways it's possible. One way, you have to start from the least number like that. Or one way, you have to guess which will be the answer here, most probably which will be the answer. From that value, you can start it. So here, I am starting from this first option. Or which will be the easiest approaching styles here like this. You just consider 731. If you need to check whether this 731 is a prime or not. So there you have to consider 731, which is an immediately preceding square of this 731. So before the 731, which will be the immediately, or if you are considering the square root of 731. So what is the range here? So you just think about the values there. So here we know that 26 square. So that is, what is 26 square? So therefore 25 square, 24 square. So therefore here 26 square is 676. 27 square, that is 729. So 28 square. So that is 784. So look at this number. This lies in between these two numbers, right? So therefore, the 731 is immediately greater than 27. If you need to check whether the given number is prime or not, what you want to do, you have to check the divisibility of primes up to 27. So here we are considering check the divisibility of prime numbers up to 27. So it's such a lengthy process. Here 731 is the answer, that's why I started here. Otherwise I have to explain these all possibilities that you have to try it. So what is your strategy? Either you can start from the least value. So you have to check it with the 227, you have to check it whether or we have to prove that there is not any common factor for 227. Then you can stop the operation there. And other one like that, we are proving that this is a prime number, this is prime number, this is prime number, then we are sure this is not a prime number, like that. That's one method. Otherwise, what you have to consider? You have to start the verification with all the 4 numbers together. That means first you have to consider the factors here. Then like that we have to, suppose if you are starting with the first factor, you have to check it with all the 4 numbers. Anyway, I will continue here. Here you have to check the verifications of these numbers with the factors, which are the primes less than 27. That's such a big list of numbers. So those are 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, 17, 19, 23. Correct. So these are the prime factors up to 27. So we have to check the divisibility. Whether this 731 is divisible by 2? No, it's not divisible by 2. Is it divisible by 3? How we can check whether the given number is divisible by 3 or not? You have to add the digits together, 7 plus 3 plus 1. So what is 7 plus 3 plus 1? So that's equal to 11. It's not a multiple of 3. That's the divisibility rule for 3. So whether the sum of the digits of a given number is divisible by 3, then the entire number is also divisible by 3. But here it's not divisible. And what about 5? Look at the number. It's not end in 5 or 0. So therefore it's not divisible by 5. And 7. So you don't bother about any special method for the divisibility by 7. You have to simply divide it. As we know, 700 is divisible by 7, right? 31 is not divisible by 7. Therefore we can cancel it. 11, there are methods, even though you have to directly do it. So what is the method there? The divisibility by 11. You just add the alternate place digits. Here 7 plus 1, that's equal to 8. And the middle number is 3. 8 minus 3, that's 5 only. Therefore, it's not divisible by 11. What about 13? 13, you have to simply do the division. That's the normal division method. So 731, we are testing whether it's divisible by 13. Whether it's divisible by 30. 731 divided by 13. So we know that 5 times of 13, that's equal to 65 is there. And what is the remains there? Here that is 81. Whether this 81 divisible by 13? No, it's not divisible by 13. Hence, it's not a factor. Then moving to 17. Here again we are checking it's like whether this number is divisible by 17. How to do it? This is 731 divided by 17. Correct. So here we know that 4 times of 17, which will be equal to 68. And 51 is there. 3 times of 17, that's equal to 51. Yeah, it's completely divisible. Therefore, what we can conclude, this 17 is a factor of this number. So therefore, what happened? 731 is not a prime number. That means the 731 is 17 into 43. How to conclude whether it's a prime or not? If it's a prime number, it doesn't have any factor other than 1 and that number. But here we found some factors other than 1 and that number. Here 17 is a factor, 43 is a factor. Therefore, 731 is not a prime number. Our question is also the same thing. Which among these options is not a prime number? Here the answer is 731. Understand the difficulty level of this question because it's too much time consuming. Because whenever we have to do the operations like this, it will take too much time. Suppose you just consider if you are starting from this number, then moving to 347, then 461, then finally 731. What will happen there? So at that time, that will be, here we will get the idea that it will take too much time to verify it separately. Okay. Then The next question. A factory buys 7 machines. 2 machine A, 2 machine B and rest machine C. Prices of the machines are rupees 95,000, 75,000 and 43,000 respectively. Calculate the average cost of these machines. Clear? So this is the case of weighted average. Here we have 7 machines in total. So these 7 machines, how we can consider the calculations here? Suppose if we are considering this one, these 7 machines in total, these 7 machines split it into 3. That means 2 machines of A, 2A, and machine B, so 2 machines of B, 2B. So now we have 4 machines in total. Therefore, what remains there? Therefore, 3 machines of C. This is the distribution, 2, 2, 3. Then we have to consider the price here. So here the prices of machine are 95,000. So this is 95,000. And the second one, that is 75,000. And the third one, that is 43,000. Got it? Therefore, we are going to find out the average cost. So here the average cost. Average cost. So this is simply 2 into 95,000 plus 2 into 75,000 plus 3 into 43,000. Don't forget, all are in thousands. All divided by 2 plus 2 plus 3. 2 plus 2 plus 3. So this much thousands here. Don't forget that. So I just take it together. That's only. So this much 1,000. Got it. So you can simplify it further. So here, whenever we are doing this one, this is equal to 190. This is 150. And this is 3 times of 43. That's equal to 129. All divided by 7 into 1,000. Got it? So you just simplify it. You just add up together here. So while we are adding these values, this is equal to 009, that is 9 here. 9 plus 5, 14 plus 2, 16, 1 is there. So therefore, this is 469,000 by 7. So simply divide it. This is 6 times of 7, that is 42 is there. The remainder 49 will be there, that is 7 times. Therefore, 6,000, 67,000. So we can conclude our answer is 67,000. So this is the application of weighted average. So this way we can find the weighted average of this calculation easily. The value of x for which the expressions 7x plus 13 and 13x minus 7 become equal. That's a simple, direct, algebraic type of question. Here, 7x plus 13, so which is equal to 13x minus 7. So this will be like, we can take this towards right side, 13x minus 7x. So this is 13 plus 7. So what is the difference here? This is 6x. So that's equal to 20. Therefore, x equal to 20 by 6, or which will be equal to 10 by 3. So the answer is option D. So that's a direct simplifying type question. A can do a work in 15 days, B in 9 days. If they work on it together for 5 days, then what fraction of work is left? So here, we can directly apply the result. Suppose A can complete a work in 15 days. B can complete it in 9 days. Then A and B together. It in 15 into 9 by 15 plus 9. So that's the direct result. So that means A can complete a work in X days, B can complete the work in Y days, then A and B together. That's the direct result. A can complete a work in X days, we can complete the same work in y days. Then A and B together in x into y by x plus y days. Right. X into y by x plus y days. Clear? So, we are applying that result here. So, what is this result actually? What is this output? That is the total time taken by A and B together to finish this entire work. So, while we are simplifying this one, this is equal to 15 into 9. This is equal to 15 into 9. Keep it the value like this, divided by 15 plus 9. That is 24. So, just simplify it. This is 3 times into 3. This is 8. So, we will get this is equal to 45 by 8 days. 45 by 8 days. This is the total time required them to complete this entire work. If they work on it together for 5 days, then what fraction of the work is left? So, that means in 5 days, what quantity of work they can finish? So, like that, if you are considering that quantity, so it will be what quantity of work they can finish in 5 days. So, therefore, here we can consider quantity or fraction. So, instead of using the term quantity, it's better to use the term fraction. Got it? So, fraction of work completed. Fraction of work completed in 5 days. So, how we can find out it? So, this is the total number of days required for the completion of the work. Therefore, in 5 days, how much quantity of work they can complete? So, 5 days, that means the work done in 5 days, but the actually required number of days is 45 by 8. So, this way we can find out the fraction. Here we will get this is equal to 8 by 9. So, that means 8 by 9 of the portion, 8 by 9 of the total work completed in 5 days. So, here we have to find out the quantity of work left with. So, therefore, after these 5 days, quantity or fraction again. So, that's fraction of work left with. Fraction of work left with. So, that means here this is the total work we just consider that as 1 because we are operating it with the fractions. Therefore, this is 1 minus 8 by 9. What you will get? So, that is equal to 1 by 9, which means 1 by 9 of the total works left after these 5 days of work. So, this is the fractional type of approach. Here you have to understand this very important point. How many days they are doing, so or they are involved in the work, that is 5, divided by total number of days required, that is the denominator. This is equal to 5 divided by 45 by 8. So, like that we can find the fraction. Rahman walks at 8 km per hour and Roma cycles at 13 km per hour towards each other. That means they are in opposite direction. What was the distance between them when they started if they meet after 36 minutes? So, in such a question, here we have to consider that individual speeds are 8 km per hour and 13 km per hour. So, we have to find out the relative speed. Understand the relative speed. Relative speed. So, this is the case of two moving objects. If two moving objects are in opposite direction, relative speed is the sum of their individual speeds. Here the sum of the individual speeds are 8 km per hour and 13 km per hour. That is equal to 21 km per hour. This is the relative speed. If it is 21 km, what was the distance between them? They started if they meet after 36 minutes. Therefore, the time taken for this crossing or their travel, that is 36 minutes. How we can convert this 36 minutes into hours? This is 36 by 60 hours. So, what it will become? This is equal to 3 by 5. 3 by 5 hours. Clear? Then usually we know that for how we can find the distance. Here we are going to find out what is the distance they covered. Therefore, the distance, so that is nothing but speed into time. This is a very basic result, speed into time. But in this context, speed is not a simple or individual speed, that's a relative speed. So here the relative speed is 21 kilometer per hour. For making these two units are in the same form, we just converted this time also in hours format. Therefore, this is 21 kilometer per hour into 3 by 5 hours. So, this many kilometers they covered. So, while we are simplifying this one, 21 into 3. So, that is 21 into 3. So, that is 63 divided by 5. What is 63 divided by 5? That's equal to 12.6 kilometer. So, this is the distance covered. That is 12.6 kilometers. Here, the basic idea, that's the concept of relative speed. If two moving bodies are in opposite direction, their relative speed is sum of their individual speeds. But whenever the moving bodies are in same direction, then the relative speed is the difference between their individual speeds. Two students appeared for an examination. One of them secured 24 marks more than the other, and his marks were 65% of the sum of their marks. The marks obtained. Here we have to find out their individual marks. So, this is a frequently tested kind of question. What is the logic that we can directly apply for this type of question? Here we just consider here two students. One of them secured 24 marks more than the other. That is a constant value, 24 marks. We don't want to take it at first. We have to consider this percentage value separately. So, here we just consider two students, their scores are, A, B are the two students. We are going to write their scores. A plus B, that is the total score. Suppose the total score is 100 marks. What it mentioned here? So, and his mark were 65% of the sum of their marks. Suppose this A, he scored 65% of the total mark. Total mark in the sense sum of their marks, like that we can consider. If his mark is 65, what's the mark of second person? That's remaining 35. We can frame it in the form of a ratio. How we can convert it? Here 65 and 35 both are divisible by 5. So, therefore, the ratios are 13:7. It's enough. Then now we don't want to bother about this part. Clear? Look at the options. Which option satisfying this kind of a ratio? Or simply, what is the testing point here? You just observe which of the second value or the least values is divisible by 7. Is it divisible by 7? No, it's not divisible by 7. It's not divisible by 7. It's not divisible by 7. So, this is divisible. Therefore, we don't want to go for further testing and we don't want to use this 24 marks data here. Directly, we can apply the divisibility condition. Instead of finding the divisibility rule for 13, it's easy to find the divisibility of 7. That's why we used that trick. Otherwise, you have to check the divisibility of 13. That's it. Then, anyway, how we can apply this data, given data, and how to find out it, or what is the use of such a data? It is given that this highly scored student scored 24 marks more than the other student. So, you just simply check what is the difference here. So, here the difference is 6. So, this 6 is representing 24 marks. Now, you just consider the concept of unitary method. The 6 into 4 will be equal to 24. Therefore, this is 13 into 4. What is 13 into 4? So that's equal to 13 into 4. So which is equal to 52. So look at the options here. So which is 52 here, 52 here. I just complete it. Here, if we are considering this one, this is 7 into 4. So that is 28. Yeah, these are the two values. Therefore, the answer is option D. So understand that divisibility concept. So once you are familiar with the divisibility concept, easily you can reach the conclusion. So that's a tricky type of approach in similar kind of questions. These are some of the frequently asked set of questions. So answer this question: when a discount of 25% is given on a wedding gown, the profit is 32%. If the discount is 17%, the profit is. Yeah, it's a little bit complicated one, calculation wise and the concept wise. Correct. Here we are applying a very useful and very important result in such a type of question. So here the first condition, a discount of 25% is given, even though there is a profit of 32%. Suppose we just consider if a merchant offered a discount of D%, even though he gained or he made a profit of P%, then there is a direct application of these two percentage values for finding the marked price is to cost price. So how we can find the marked price and cost price ratio here? This is 100 plus this P and 100 minus D. It's a very important result. So understand the situation. A merchant offered a certain percentage of discount, even though he gained a certain percentage. In such a situation, how it happened? He marked the price of the product is a little more higher than the actual cost price. Then he offered a discount. That's why he made such a profit. So here the relationship between marked price and cost price we can find with the help of this result. Coming to our data, here the discount percentage is 25. Here offered 25 discount, but a profit of 32%. Now we have to find out what is marked price by cost price. This is 132 by 75. Understand, these are only representing values or ratios. Therefore, you can convert it's in the form of any convenient figure. So suppose I am converting it like both these values are divisible by 3. For the further step of operation, it's better to keep the denominator as 100. How it's possible? First, you have to divide both these values by 3. So just divide it by 3. Whenever we are dividing it by 3, this is 4 times of 3, 12. Further 4 is there. This is 25. This 132 by 75, we can convert it in the form of 44 by 24. Again, just multiply it by 4. What you will get? This is 176 and this is 100. Got it? 176 by 100. So what you can assume here? Here, the cost price of this article is 100. So we are assuming like cost price is 100. Correct. Marked price then 176. What is the next step? This is as per the first data. And it's asked again, if the discount is 17%, then the profit is. Suppose if the discount is 17%, then what is the selling price? Selling price, we just subtract 17% from the total 100% of the marked price. The 17%, after 17% effect on the marked price, rest become 83%. So we are deducting 70 from the total value, the rest is 83%. This is 83% of 176. So this is the complicated calculation part in this question. You can do the approximation, but here the answers are quite nearest values. Therefore, it's better to do the operation properly. So you have to learn how to multiply it. You can do some of the approximations here. Instead of 176, you can think about that is 175, then which will be the nearest value, like that. But if there is a less margin or less difference between the options, you don't want to take such kind of risky step. Here you have to do it directly. How to multiply it separately? So you have to multiply like 6 into 3, that's equal to 18 is there. 1 is carry. 3 into 7, 21 plus 22. 22 plus 48. So that's equal to 70. Then 7 is carry. Then 3 plus 7, 10, plus 56 is there, 66, 6 is there. Then 8 plus 6, that's equal to 140. So the product is 146.08. How it become 0.08? So therefore, here we will get, so here we have the result 146.08. What it means, here cost price is 100 and selling price is 146.08. So therefore, what is the profit percentage here? Therefore, profit percentage, that is directly we can write that is 46.08%. So now we got the most accurate answer. This is the most effective way to reach the conclusion of this question. Understand the application of such a result. Then here you have to learn this calculation part. So either you have to do the normal multiplication for finding this product. It's better if you know any of the easiest or the quick multiplication process for finding the product of such type of values. Now another tricky one question here. At 20% discount, the selling price of a washing machine is 38,000. What is the selling price if the discount is 40%? So there you can consider this is 24% discount. If there is a discount of 24%, so if there is a discount of 24%, what could be the selling price? Now the selling price is, you have to subtract this 24 from 100. So 24 from 100, this is 76. So this is 76% of marked price. And suppose the discount is 40%. If the discount is 40%, now what could be the selling price here? You have to subtract this 40 from 100. So that is 60. So this is 60% of the marked price. Don't forget, always we have to consider marked price as the base of this operation. So that means 76% of marked price is representing 38,000. Then what this 60% represents? That's a simple logic. Look at the value here. Here you have to focus on these values here, simply 76. As 76 represents 38,000. Then 60 represents how much? You have to catch the connection between 76 and 38. What it is? 38 is nothing but the half of 76, right? 38 is half of 76. Then what is half of 60? What is half of 60? That is 30. Got it? That is 30. Put these 3 zeros here. 0, 0, 0. Now we got the answer. This is equal to 30,000. Clear? So this is the direct approach. You have to consider this unitary type of approach. Once this 24% discount applicable on the initial marked price, then the selling price becomes 76%. If 76 is representing this value, then what the second selling price, that is 60. 60 represents. So that's the quick conclusion here. Then another interesting question is from geometry. So a dodecahedron has 20 vertices and 12 faces. How many edges does it have? Hope you got the idea what this figure is. A dodecahedron. Dodecahedron, it's a solid figure which has 20 vertices. Can you visualize it? What kind of a figure it is? So here different possibilities. In this case, it specifies that there are 12 faces. It's not mandatory that it contains exactly 12 faces. It may be more than 12 faces also. So it should have such kind of minimum 12 faces like that. So it's specifically given there are 12 faces. Then how we can find the edges? while considering this kind of a question, we are applying Euler's formula, Euler's or Euler's. Sometimes we are calling like this. This is Euler's formula. So Euler's formula related to this context in regards of solid figures, related to vertices, faces, edges. Get it? So that Euler's formula is very simple. Vertices, number of vertices plus number of faces minus number of edges is equal to 2 for any solid figure. Get it? So therefore, if we are considering, we are applying this one. What is the number of vertices here? Vertices we have 20 and number of faces 12 minus the number of edges. We are going to find out the number of edges here. Got it? So that is equal to 20 plus 12 minus E equal to 2. So actually this basic result is applicable on convex figures. Convex figures means it's expanding towards outside. So whenever we are drawing the diagonals inside, it won't go outside or the boundary of this figure. That kind of figures are solid figures. They're only applicable here. So number of vertices, number of faces and number of edges here. So here, how we can apply this one? Then if we are finding this E, this is 20 plus 12, that's equal to 32 minus E is equal to 2. So then what is the value of E? E is number of edges is equal to 30. So here the answer is 30. Don't forget, here V is vertices, F is faces, E is edges. Then the diagonal of a square is equal to the side of an equilateral triangle. If the area of the square is 15 root 3 centimeter, then what is the equilateral triangle? What is the area of the equilateral triangle? There you have to learn the results related to equilateral triangle and squares. So how we can consider the results here? So if we are considering the results, suppose we are considering a square. So here a square. So what is the area of a square in such a situation? So here it is given that the diagonal of a square is equal to the side of an equilateral triangle. So what is the diagonal here? So if you are considering the diagonal, so this is a diagonal. Got it? So this is the diagonal. So this diagonal. So there are two diagonals. Therefore area of a square, half of d square. So with the help of diagonal, length of the diagonal, we can find the area. That is half of d square. And if we are considering an equilateral triangle, so now what is the area here? So this is an equilateral triangle. We just consider its side is this diagonal. Suppose this side is this diagonal, don't forget, side is the diagonal of the square. Then how to find the area of such an equilateral triangle? So usually area of equilateral triangle root 3 by 4 a square, But in terms of d, this is root 3 by 4 d square. This is the result. Then we can apply this one. Here it is given that the area of the square is 15 root 3 square centimeter. That means half d square. So which is equal to 15 root 3. So then what is the value of d square? That is 30 root 3. Yeah, here we got d square equal to 30 root 3. Then we already reached the conclusion that area of an equilateral triangle, that is root 3 by 4 d square. So therefore area of equilateral triangle, how we can apply this? This is root 3 by 4 d square. So we have the value for d square. Directly you can substitute it here. So this is equal to root 3 by 4 into 30 root 3. So we just multiply root 3 and root 3, that will be make another one 3. This is 3 into 30, that's equal to 90. Simply 90 by 4. So what is 90 by 4? So look at the options, in which way options are presenting there. So this is simply 45 by 2 square centimeter. So this is 45 by 2 square centimeter. Therefore, the answer is option D. If the curved surface area of a right circular cone is 3080 square centimeter and its slant height is 35 centimeter, find its total surface area. It's about a right circular cone. Right circular cone. So its curved surface area, you have to recall the results for finding this curved surface area and surface area, total surface area. While we are considering the curved surface area of a right circular cone, how it is a right circular cone? Here we can consider a right circular cone. So I just draw here. A right circular cone. Good. This is the right circular cone. Here we can consider the height, and this is the radius, right? And just mark it. This is height, this is radius, and this is slant height. Slant height. This right circular cone, what is the curved surface area? So curved surface area of a right circular cone, that is pi RL. That is curved surface area. It is given that 3080 and its slant height is 35 centimeter. Find the total surface area. So here we can consider total surface area. Then what is total surface area? First of all, we have to consider these two results. Total surface area is nothing but pi r square, that is base area, then pi r. So therefore we can combine it together, phi r into L plus r. Got it? As the curved surface area is available there, then we can find out the total surface area. For that purpose, we have to find the value of r. That's the important point here. Anyway, pi, the value of pi is 22 by 7 into r into, we have its slant height is 35. So which is equal to 3080. So simplified further, this is 5. So therefore r is equal to 3080 divided by 110. Simplified. So while we are simplifying this one, 2 times of 11 is equal to 22, then 88 will be there, that is 28. Here we got r equal to 28. Then we can find out the total surface area. Total surface area. So that is pi r into L plus r. Pi, we have the value for r, that is 28, and L plus r, here L is 35 and r is 28. Simplified. So here we can simplify it like this. So this is 22 into 4, that is 88, and just add it together, 35 and 28. So therefore 8 plus 5, that is 13. This is 63. Just multiply it together. While observing these values, here we know that it will end in 8 and it will end in 8. And here again we know that this is greater than 5400, right? So then look at the values here. Like that we can reach the conclusion. Sorry, end in 4. End in 4. So while observing this one, this 3 into 8, that will be equal to 24. Therefore, its unit digit is 4. Whenever we are doing the multiplication, unit digit is 4. Look at the options which will end in 4. There is only one option. So the answer is 5544. So the answer is 5544 square centimeter. So the answer is option C. So these are a result-wise approach. You have to by heart, or you have to recall the results related to the solid figures, even the geometric figures which you learned in your school level. That will help you a lot. If you forgot those all results, just recall it. Okay. Now the next question. Santi and Manti do 8/13th part of a work, and the rest of the work was completed by Auntie. If Santi, Manti and Auntie take the same work for rupees 2,600, then what is the share of Auntie? It's quite simple one here. Santi and Manti, they together complete 8/13th part of the work. So then here the profit or the wage is distributed as per the ratio of the work they completed. So here if you are considering these two persons, Santi and Manti, they completed 8/13 part of the work. Got it? Part. Then what's the part of the work completed by Auntie? That is remaining. Or simply you just consider this is 1 minus 8/13. So that is 5/13 part. Got it? That means their ratio, this is Santi plus Manti together and Auntie. So their ratio is 8:5. That's a simple logic. This wage should be distributed as per this ratio. So this is the ratio of their wages or remuneration. So this is same as ratio of their wages. Ratio of their wages. If it is the ratio of their wages, how we can find the wage for Auntie? So that we have to find out the share of Auntie. So here, share of Auntie. So here Auntie's part is 5. This is 5/8 plus 5, that is 13 of 2,600. That's a very simple ratio application. Here this is equal to 200. 5 into 200, which will be equal to 1,000. So this is the share of Auntie. So that's a simple ratio related question. There you have to understand the concept. There's remuneration or the wage for the completion of a total piece of work is distributed as per the quantity of work done. How we can find out the quantity of work done? It's nothing but the ratio of their efficiencies. Whenever the time is constant, ratio of efficiencies is same as the ratio of the quantities they completed, and which is same as the ratio of their required or eligible remunerations. A solid cone height 24 centimeter and having radius of base 8 centimeter is melted to form a solid cylinder of radius 6 centimeter and height 6 centimeter. In the whole process, what % of material is wasted? That's an interesting question. So this kind of questions, what is the importance here? You have to recall those all geometrical results. In this set, you experience some of the questions. So more than 2 or 3 questions related to the geometrical results. And it's connected with the percentage calculation also. Some of the questions are calculative too. So you have to learn the skills from those all areas. So how to improve that skill in percentage calculations, and you have to recall almost all the important set of results related to geometry. Here also it's a case of cone, a solid cone. So we just consider the measures or the results related to solid cone. Height is 24 centimeter and radius 8 centimeter is melted to form a cylinder. So therefore, first of all, what we have to consider, so we are considering about cone. So when we are thinking about cone, solid cone and a cylinder. So I will explain the method how we have to perform the rough work for this type of questions. Solid cone, its radius is 8 centimeter and height is 24 centimeter. It's form a solid cylinder of radius 6 centimeter and height 6 centimeter. Radius 6 centimeter, height also 6 centimeter. So from this cone, we are forming such kind of cylinder, small cylinder, while comparing with this first one. Then we have to find out what is the percentage of wastage in material. So then you have to check what is the result here. So here this is volume. So that is 1 by 3 pi r square h. Here volume. So that is pi r square h. Don't forget, here in both the cases r and h are different. Here this is 1 by 3 pi. Keep pi in that form itself, because on the right side also there is also the pi, same pi. But this is 8 square into 24 pi r square h. Here this is pi into r square, that is 6 square into 6. So what is the interesting point related to such kind of questions? You don't want to find the exact figures here. Instead, you have to consider the ratio of these two values. How it is possible? How we can frame the ratio of these two values? Here we can cancel this pi from both the sides. This 3 we can cancel here, 8. So this is simply 8 cube and this is simply 6 cube. So that's the interesting beauty of this calculation. So here we just consider what is 8 cube and what is 6 cube. Here we are considering this 8 cube and 6 cube here. So you can do the operations. Or further simplification is also possible. In both the quantities you can cancel 2 cube. So if you are dividing both these values by 2 cube, this is equal to 4 cube, this is 3 cube. That's it. We just simplify it. So we are simplifying it with the common factors. So what is 4 cube? 4 cube is equal to 64 and 3 cube is equal to 27. So we are considering the second value is how much percentage lesser than this first value. So here we got this is equal to 37, right? And we are finding what is that percentage of decrease. We are going to find out that 37. So I just write the step here. Therefore, the required percentage of wastage or loss. So that is simply 37 by 64, because here we are comparing it with the initial volume. These are the values representing those volume part into 100. How to solve this step of questions? You just simply consider what is 50% of this denominator, that is 32. Here numerator is greater than 50, but numerator is less than 60. So that's the important point. Numerator is greater than 50. So here we just consider, but it's less than 60. How it is possible? Here we have to do the refer here what is 50% and 60%. You just simply consider. So therefore we can conclude it. Here we can conclude it. This is most nearest to, or we got the conclusion that our answer lie in between 50 and 60. So what is the value from the options in that range? That is equal to 57.8%. So it's a very important strategical approach, because whenever we are considering this kind of an approach, you are framing the ratios here. Get it? If two successive discounts of 20% and 30% are given, what is the net discount? So you can apply the direct result for finding the answer for this question. Two successive. So it's an application of successive variation, but it's a case of successive discounts. Two successive discounts of X% and Y%. What it means, suppose a company is providing X% discount on a particular product. The retailer is providing additionally Y% discount on that reduced price. That kind of a discount situation is called the successive discount. So these two discounts applicable on that price, marked price of the product. But the second one, it's applicable on the decreased price. That's a trick. If two successive discounts of X% and Y% will be equal to a net discount of, so you can directly apply this result. So what is the net discount here? x plus y minus x into y by 100%. So this is the net discount percent. X plus y minus x into y by 100%. It's a very important result. Correct. So understand, it's a very important result. Apply this result directly for finding the answer. So how we can find it? Here we have the values 20% and 30%. So therefore here net discount that is equal to 20 plus 30 minus 20 into 30 by 100. So this is the net percentage of discount. 20 plus 30, that we got 50. What is 20 into 30 by 100? That's equal to 6. So 50 minus 6%. So that is equal to 44%. 44%. Here the answer is 44. Okay, here the next question. In what ratio sugar at 30 per kilogram should be mixed with sugar at 45 per kilogram so that on selling the mixture at 42 per kilogram, there is a profit of 20%. So instead of considering the entire concept, I just give you the direct approaching style. So we don't want to waste too much time to think about the various types of approach of this question. So directly you can apply this one allegation method here. But before we are applying this allegation method, first you have to find what is the average cost price. This 42 is not average cost price. It made a profit of 20%. Clear? That made a profit of 20%. So this 42 is nothing but 120% of average cost price. So first we are considering that point. Therefore, average cost price. Average cost price. Average cost price is this 42 divided by 120 into 100. 100. Got it? So that's the direct application because there is a profit of 20%. So you have to find it. So which value, which cost become 42 after increasing 20%? Like that we have to consider. So this is the cost price. So you just simplify it. While we are simplifying this one, this is 5 times of 20, this is 6 times of 20, cut it here, this is 7. So average cost is 35. This is the first and very important step in such type of operations. Then after that, we are applying allegation. Allegation. Hope you already heard the concept of allegation. You experience the concept of allegation. So how we can apply this allegation? This allegation is an interesting tool to find the ratio of weightages in a weighted average calculation. It's a kind of weighted average calculation because we are going to find out the ratio of weightages. As these all are weightage ratios, which is the suitable one here. Understand the situation. In what ratio? The cost of 30 per kilogram. So the first variety, its price is 30 per kilogram. And what is the price for second variety? That is rupees 45 per kilogram. Rupees 45 per kilogram. So in which ratio we have to mix both these varieties together to form a new mixture which costs rupees 35 per kilogram? That's the question. In such a situation, it's a mixing situation. So that means it's related to mixtures. So in mixtures, we are applying this allegation method for finding the ratio of weightages. So what is our next step? You have to write this average price at the middle. Average price at the middle. See, you don't want to write this rupees. You simply write 30, 45, 35. That's it. You don't want to write it. Okay. If it is the case of percentages also like that, you just simply enter the value star. Then after the what do you want to do? You just make a subtraction in a diagonal way. That means you have to subtract this 35 from 45. So this is 45 minus 35. What you will get? This is 10. And do the subtraction through this way. Here we know that this 35 is greater, therefore 35 minus 30. So that is 5. We got these two figures 10 and 5. So write the ratio of these two figures 10 and 5. Those are in the ratio 2:1. That's our required ratio. Understand the situation? If we mix these two varieties of sugars in the ratio of 2:1, in the ratio in the sense quantities. That means if you are buying 2 kilograms of the first variety, you have to mix 1 kilogram of the second variety. Then only you will get a new mixture. Its average cost is rupees 35 per kilogram. That cost or that mixture, when we sold it or sells it at 20% profit, at that time its price will become 42 per kilogram. So that's the concept here. So here the very first approach, that's very important. First step of this operation, you have to find the average cost. So avoiding that profit part. So that's the important step of operation here. Consider this question. It's a very basic average question. Average of 11 numbers is 7. If every number is doubled, then what will be the new average? So here we have to consider the basic property of average. Suppose we just consider the average of a set. So that means x1, x2, x3, etc., xn. So that is equal to x bar. If there is a condition like this, then we can say the average of, suppose if you are multiplying all these terms by a constant value like k, kx1, kx2, etc., kxn. What will happen this average? This average is also being multiplied by k. So when we divide each term by k, the average is also being divided by k. When we add a certain constant value k with all these quantities, this average also being added by k, and subtract by k, so therefore the average also decreased by k. So that's the basic property. Here we just consider what happened here. In this case, this initial average is 7. That is irrespective of the number of terms. What will happen if the new average, each term is doubled? Each term is doubled. What will happen? Our new average also being doubled. Therefore, the new average is 14 here. Here the answer is 14. Okay, then move to the next question here. Amit donated 20% of his income to a school and deposited 20% of the remainder in his bank. If he has 12,800 now, what is the income? So it's a chain rule type of approach because he donated 20% of his income to a school and deposited 20% of the remainder. That's the important part here. This is 20% of the remainder in his bank. So then how we can check it? Suppose we just consider we are using that unitary method for finding this type of question. So here we are starting like his income. Suppose we are considering his income. So that is 100. So it's 20 he invested for a school. So he invested for a school. Got it? And this remaining, that is 80. So this is remaining. Got it? So this remaining value, so if you are doing this remaining part will be 80 remaining. This 80 is 20%. 80 is 20% he spent or deposited in his bank. What is 20% of this 80? Here it is 20% directly applicable. Here this is 20%. What is 20% of this value? That's equal to 16. It's towards bank. And what remains there? So that is equal to 64. So that's the final balance. This 64 is rupees 12,800. Then what was the income? So if the 64, that's the final balance. Final balance. So that is equal to 64, which is representing rupees 12,200 or 12,800. Then his income, we have to find out what is the income. We started assumption like 100. What is 100? So as 64, it's representing rupees 12,800. Here we know that 64 is twice is 128. Therefore 100 is twice is 200. So therefore this is 200. Put two more zeros here. Therefore that's equal to 20,000. This is a direct approach. We can start the assumptions like this by 100. Through this way we can find the answer in such kind of questions. So there are direct fractional type of approach also possible. In such a type of question, how we can directly consider the fractional type of approach. So that's also we can consider. Suppose his income, it's 20% he deposited on school. What is 20%? Its corresponding fraction. 20%, its corresponding fraction is 1 by 5. Suppose if you are depositing this kind of an amount, what remains there? Its remainder is 4 by 5. Suppose income's 4 by 5 portion is left after the first set of investment. It's 20% again deposited. So what it remains there? Again that is 4 by 5. So this is the final remainder. This is equal to 12,800. That's a simple step. Therefore, what is income? So this is 12,800 into, take these two fractions towards right side. Therefore, this is 25 by 16. Just simplify it further. So whenever we are simplifying this one, this is equal to 800. What is 25 into 8? 25 into 8, that's equal to 200. Put two more zeros here. Therefore, the answer is rupees 2,000. Clear? Next question. Two trains are moving in the opposite direction at speeds of 43 km per hour and 51 km per hour respectively. The time taken by the slower train to cross a man sitting in the faster train is 9 seconds. What is the length of the slower train? In this context, first you have to identify what actually we are going to find out, or what is the distance covered in this activity. Here the time taken by the slower train to cross a man sitting in the faster train. The distance covered in this context, just understand it. The slower train is moving. So how long it will take to cross a man sitting in the faster train. So that means the slower train is not entirely crossing that faster train. We are not going to find out such time or time requirement. That is crossing a person only. Suppose this moving train is crossing a person. So there the length is nothing but the length of the slower train itself. In this context, therefore the distance of this activity, so that is the length of slower train. That is the length of the slower train. Clear? So we are going to find out that is the length of the slower train. We have to consider the further concept. So they are in opposite directions at 43 km per hour and 51 km per hour. Then what is the relative speed here? So here relative speed. If two moving bodies are in opposite direction, relative speed is nothing but the sum of their individual speeds. So that is 43 plus 51. So that is 94 km per hour. In such a situation, here the answers are in meters and the total time taken is 9 seconds, that time in seconds. Therefore, we have to convert the speed also in the form of meters per second. How to convert the speed into meters per second? Just multiply it with 5 by 18. This many meters per second. Keep it like this. You don't want to simplify it right now. Then we have to find the length of the slower train. We already found that the distance covered in this activity, that is the length of the slower train. Therefore, in this case, distance. How to find a distance? Distance is nothing but speed into time. Speed into time. Here the time taken for this entire activity, that is 9 seconds. Therefore, this is 94 into 5 by 18 into 9. Simplified. So here we can simplify it like this. 2, this is equal to 47. So what is 5 into 47 here? So that's equal to 35. 235 here. So this is 235 meter. So that is same as length of the slower train, because we already found that the distance in this activity, that is the length of the slower train. Therefore, the length of slower train to 35 meter. So this is the answer. Clear? The next question, a certain sum of money amounts to 918 in 2 years, 969 in 3.5 years at a simple interest. What is the rate of interest here? How to find it in such kind of question? Here in 2 years it becomes 918 and 969 in 3.5 years. So then we have to find the rate of interest. So there we can apply some direct method for finding the answer here. We don't know the principal here. So it becomes here the amount at the end of 2 years. So that is equal to 918. Clear? So then amount at the end of 3.5 years, that is 969. Understand, it's a case of simple interest. Therefore, what's the difference here? That is simple interest for 1.5 years. So that's the difference between these two values. What is the difference between these two values? 969 minus 918, that's equal to 1 is there. This is 51 is there. 918 and 9. So this is 51. Rupees 51. Therefore, what it's for 1 year? What is simple interest for 1 year? How to do it? So this is 51 divided by 1.5 into 1, or this is 2 by 3. Just multiply it with 2 by 3. Then this is equal to 34 rupee. For 1 year, that is 34 rupee. For what purpose we are finding this one here? We got simple interest for 1 year, that is 34 rupee. Then what is simple interest for 2 years? So we can easily conclude that is 68. For what purpose we are finding? That's 8 years as 2 years, because we have to find the principal amount. If we need to find the principal amount, that is simply the amount at the end of second year minus simple interest for 2 years. Amount at the end of second year and simple interest for 2 years. Amount at the end of second year, that is 918. What is the simple interest for 2 years? We already found that, that is 68. So here the difference we have to consider, that's equal to 850. This is rupees 850. And we already found the simple interest for 1 year. Got it? So therefore, simple interest per year. So that we found rupees 34. If you need to find the rate of interest, how to find it? This rate is nothing but this 34 is what percentage of 850. 34 is what percentage of 850. We are finding it like this. So then we just simplified this many percentage here. This is 2 times of 50. This is 17 times. Then 17 and 34 we can simplify, or our answer is 4%. So here the answer is 4%. So understand the step-by-step operation here. First you have to find out the interest, simple interest for 1 year. Then you have to find the principal amount. These are the major requirements or required quantities for finding the rate of interest in such a calculation. Clear? Then moving further, for what value of k the expression x raised to 6 minus 18x cube plus k will be a perfect square? What's the trick here? So it's an application of identity. We have to make it as a perfect square. perfect square. You just look at the expressions. Here x raised to 6, we can write it as x cube the whole square, x raised to 6. Minus, I just split that expression like 2 into 9 into x cube. Up to this step, while I am writing the steps like this, have you got the idea which type of an identity we are going to use here? And here this k, here this k. What is the value of k to make it as a perfect square? So this is nothing but in the form of a minus b the whole square. Correct? A minus b the whole square. So if we want to make it as a minus b the whole square, here this is a. What could be the value of b? So this is, if we are writing, it's in the form of a minus b the whole square, a minus b the whole square. So this is a square minus 2ab plus b square. Think about it here. So just correct it, connect it. A is x cube. So here, or b, it will be like this. In this case, 8x cube, then this is b. What is b here? B is equal to 9. 2 is correspondingly here. Therefore, what could be the value of k? So if you are writing it like this, so we can write it, this is x cube the whole square minus 2 into 9 into x cube plus 9 square. So this will be equal to x cube plus 9 the whole square, x cube minus 9 the whole cube, whole square. So like this way, we can make it as a perfect square. Then what could be the value of k here? So therefore, k equal to 9 square, which is equal to 81. So that is positive 81 here, and the answer is option D. Simple interest received by a person 10 years on a principal of rupees 9,500 is 130% of the principal. What is the rate of interest per annum? 10 years, simple interest received a person in 10 years on a principal of 9,500 is 130%. So it's a quite simple question. So you don't want to bother about those values like 9,500 here. What is the net rate of interest here? So net rate of simple interest. So here we are considering that net percentage of interest. This net rate of interest means that is number of years into rate of interest. So this is equal to 130%. Here we have the number of years, that is 10 years. Here this is 10 into r percent, which is equal to 130. Therefore, what is the value of r here? That is 130 by 10. Simply we can find this value is 13. So the answer is 13%. So that means we don't want to take any complicated kind of operations with this value. Correct. Okay, now we can consider the final set of questions. So these are the questions from data interpretations. Here it is given that the amount of education loan disbursed by 5 banks of a country over 5 years. Amount of education loan disbursed. Amount of education loan disbursed. For 64 here, the question it's related to, in this question it is related to what is the percentage increase in education loan disbursed by bank 2 from 2010 and 2040. 2010 65, 2040 122. Clear? So here for finding the percentage value, the 65 to 122, what's the increment here? That's only we have to find out what is this variation. Here we know that it's an increase of 57, right? It's an increase of 57. So 65 to 122 here, this variation we have to catch, that's equal to 122. 2010 to 2014 in bank 2. So how to find this percentage of increment here? So this 57 is what percentage of 65? This we have to find. Clear? How to do the simplification for the, this is equal to 5 into 20. So this is 5 into 13. So just multiply it together. So when we are multiplying these values, this is 20 into 57. That much percentage, this is a usual percentage calculation. We are simply finding this 57 is how much percentage more than 65. So this is equal to 1140 divided by 13%. Look at the options. These all are very close. Therefore, we have to do the usual division for finding the answer in such a situation. How to find it? You just do the usual division for finding the answer. This is 1140 divided by 13. So you can depend this set of options for finding the answer here. We know that look at all the options, all are at the range of 80. So therefore you have to multiply it by 8. What is the value here? This is 3 into 8, 24. 2 is there, 8 plus 2, 10. So what remains here? That is 100. How many times of this 13 lies in 100? So we got it only 7 times. That's equal to 91. So 13 into 7 is 91. So remaining 9 will be there. Now we can stop the operation, look at the options. So here our answer start with 87 is option B. Therefore we can directly conclude here the answer is 87.69. Correct. So that much percentage, that's a percentage. So this is the approaching style. You have to understand that calculation part in such a question. Now move to the second last question. Which banks show the continuous trend of increase or decrease in loan amount disbursed over 5 years? Continuous increase or decrease in loan amount over 5 years. For that purpose, you have to check the data again. So here we can cancel these all rough work of the previous question. So whenever we are thinking it, it will be like, so whenever we are doing it, so it will be. So from this data, we have to catch it. From this data, we have to catch it. So this one. So this is the data. We have to check a continuous decrease or increase. So while we are considering bank 1, here 265, 295, there is an increase. 295 becomes 317, again increase. 317, 323 increase, 352. Yeah, this bank 1 shows such a kind of increase, continuous increase. Bank 2, there is an increase, but again a decrease. Therefore, bank 2 is not satisfying that condition. It should keep a continuous increase or decrease. Here, again, we just consider, here it's an increase. Next one is an increase, but here it's a decrease. Therefore, it's also not satisfying. And bank 4, we just consider 109, 123, 123, 125, 125, 142, 157. Yeah, it's also satisfying. This is 80, 103, 140, 143, etc. Good. So therefore, we got 3 banks. Which are the banks? Bank 1, 4, and 5. Look at the question options here. Bank 1, 4, and bank 5. It's an observation type of question. Move to the final question here. It's a quantity comparison type question. Quantity 1. It's mentioned as quantity 1. Loan amount disbursed by bank 1 in 2011 to loan amount disbursed by bank 2 in 2014. Bank 1 in 2011, bank 2 in 2014. So you have to understand 1 in 2011. 1 in 2011. So here, if you are doing this rough work, bank 1 in 2011. So what is bank 1 in 2011? 295. Bank 2 in 2014, that is 122. So therefore, the required values are 295 and 122. 295 and 122. That's first value. 295 and 122. So this is the ratio. And similarly, we are going to consider the second ratio. Loan amount disbursed by bank 3 in 2014, bank 4 in 2011. 3 in 2014. 3 in 2014. So that is 211. And bank 4 in 2011, 123. This is 211 by 123. 211 by 211 by 123. So that is 123. Clear? So we have to verify which is greater, which fraction. While we are comparing these two fractions, these are complicated kind of comparison. So which fraction is greater? This is quantity 1 and this is quantity 2. Don't forget, we are going to compare these two fractions. Here, while observing these fractions itself, we can reach the conclusion this first fraction is greater. Why? Here the numerator is greater than the numerator of the second one. Here the denominator is less than the denominator of the second one. Therefore, this first quantity is greater. So look at the options. First quantity is greater. That is 1 greater than 2. That's our answer. First option. So these are the questions from the CUET. So here you experience that the importance of geometric results and the percentage calculation in most of the questions, because it contains lots of geometry related questions. So you have to keep an extra eye on that area also. You have to recall, or you just remember those kinds of results. So those are very important. So you have to practice well in all the quantitative aptitude area, and you have to gain adequate speed in that simplification part also. So anyway, right now we can wind up. Thank you.